Hello guys, JP Drikmeijer here with your historical facts for the day. Um, I'm going to start today with a South African fact. Jan Christian Smuts. I think most South Africans will recognize his name, probably some British as well. He served in three wars. First, the Boer War, the Boereoorlog. He was a general. The facts for today is basically he surrendered on this day in 1902. That's when he surrendered to the British. At that stage, it was already a guerrilla war, and the concentration camp scorched earth policies already kicked in, and the British obviously, well, the Boers, they knew it was over. It was already a done deal. So unfortunately for them, he had to surrender at this stage. But he had quite an interesting history. He served in three wars. So he served in the Boer War as general. He served in World War One and World War Two. And he was actually quite a good general and tactician. If I look at his record, he served in the First World War in Southwest Africa and East Africa. He commanded. And in the Second World War, he was a field marshal for the British, and he commanded South African forces. He's actually the only person that signed both World Wars, the First World War and the Second World War. He signed on both peace treaties, and that's quite significant. So obviously that says a lot about the man's character. Which is quite interesting. There's actually a statue erected of him in Parliament Square in London, which is still standing to this day. So yeah, a lot of South Africans and British held him in high regard. He was born on the 24th of May, 1870, and he died on the 11th of September, 1950. So quite a big character that he was. But the fact just comes in that he surrendered on this day when he was a Boer general in 1902 to the British. Okay, then I think I would like to move over to the French factor today. The French had a nuclear test. They had 4 nuclear tests. I think all of them were in Algeria. This was in 1961. It wasn't a big nuclear test, the specific one. It was, I think, less than 1 kiloton, which is extremely small for a nuclear device. This was done in Algeria, like I said. I'm gonna show you guys a map as well. You'll see on the map all the countries in the world that possess nuclear capabilities is listed on this map. You'll see Russia in red at the top in the north. You'll see the United States in the blue, and so forth. And you also see dots on the screen. This indicates where nuclear tests was done, and it will be on the color that's marked on the countries, respectively. Like you can see, even South Africa is there. If you didn't notice, now you do. I don't know if they really ever admitted to this, but you'll see on the southern point, south of South Africa, you'll see a question mark and a dot. I think this is most likely because they never admitted to it, but the rumors were that the South Africans did a nuclear test there where the question mark is. That was allegations that it was done with Israeli help. I'm not sure if it was done with their help or not. But the fact is that the nuclear test was done by French today, 1961. You'll see the blue dots in the green country and the north of Africa, that's Algeria. That 2 blue dots, that indicates nuclear test sites that the French used. They actually said there was no significant radiation in the area, and Algeria apparently also confirmed this, but later on people claimed to have radiation sickness or poisoning or something to the likes. And actually in 2009, the French government agreed to pay out money to people that alleged to be affected by radiation, which is quite funny. The other thing what you'll notice on this map, I think the smart countries on this map didn't do nuclear tests in their own country. If you look at the map, it's not meant as an insult, but if you look at the map, look at the light blue. They did nuclear tests in their own country, in their own backyard. Look at Russia, more or less on their own country, bit more out of the way. But look at Europe. All the places that they did nuclear tests is way off, removed from them. Like the UK, marked in purple, you'll see their nuclear tests took place in Australia, part of their Commonwealth. And that's like a million miles away from them. The same with the French. Their tests are done in the closest to them is Algeria, and the rest is in the Pacific somewhere, close to freaking Hawaii, I think, if I can estimate that dot, maybe a bit south of Hawaii. Then you'll see actually India and Pakistan is marked there. You can see them nuclear tests. China, you can see, even Japan, you can see just south of Japan, they did their tests. But it's quite interesting. It's quite a enlightening map, this, if you really think about it. And even the fact that South Africa had a supposed nuclear test south of South Africa, it's quite interesting. I know I read up about this many years ago, but it's buried in my memories, so I actually forgot about it. But it's quite interesting to see it on this map again. Okay, enough about that. Let's go on to the next fact. And the next fact I would like to go to, let's see, let me just close this window and see where I were. The Suez Canal. And why I'm mentioning the Suez Canal, it's 25th of April 1859. Suez Canal building starts. An engineer and designer, Ferdinand de Lesseps, or some such guy, I'm not sure how to pronounce his surname. He was the engineer and the designer of the Suez Canal that was started on this day in 1859. Should have been quite a monumental task, I would think. But if you really think about the significance of this, I'll show you the map as well, which I'll add to the video. Can you just imagine how much money it would save? It saves 8,500 kilometers from the east to the west for shipping. That's a lot of money that's saved through travel time on travel and diesel and so forth for ships, and which makes me wonder how much they charge for ships to go through that canal. It's quite interesting, and military-wise as well. If you think about it, I'll add the pictures as well. Military uses that canal on a probably monthly basis, if not weekly. I'm sure. But it's quite significant, the change that this canal would have made to prices all over the world economy. Well, if I was actually a very influential, powerful terrorist, I would consider this a key point. But it's quite a significant thing that they did by building this channel. And let me see what else I can tell you about this channel. Suez Canal offers a direct route between North Atlantic and Indian Ocean. That's obvious, and it's quite significant, like I said. And it actually cuts travel time by 8,900 kilometers. The canal's length is 193 kilometers. Okay, and in 2012, 17,225 vessels traveled through this lane, through this shipping lane, through this canal, which is quite impressive. It used to be able to let 47 ships through per day. But this changed in 2014. They expanded and upgraded, and the expansion and upgrading started, and this increased the capacity to 97 ships from 49, which is quite a lot. This upgrade costs apologies. This upgrade cost $8.4 billion. It's quite a price tag, but if you think how much money they probably make through that channel, it's probably not that much. It was opened again on 24th of February 2016. But can you imagine if that canal closes for just one day? What a big change it would make to world trade and to the world economy. Oh, I wouldn't say just one day, but if it was closed for a year or so, can you imagine what the differences would be in world prices and different things? It would be quite a big impact. It's quite significant, and it's an amazing feat that they actually built this thing and upgraded it. Okay, then let's see what else was there. Here's another thing. Okay, this I can actually say might be a fun fact for a change. Elvis Presley, he had his first #1 on, let's see, on the singles charts on this day. Heartbreak Hotel. He had his first #1 hit on was Heartbreak Hotel in 1961, if I remember correctly. I hope I'm remembering this correctly, but I think it was in 1961, but it was today. So his career kicked off basically back then. And he supposedly started rock and roll. Well, not the rock and roll we used to today, but he started rock and roll. That's what they say. There is quite a few more facts that we can throw in. I'm not sure if I want to add them all, because then I'm going to speak for hours. But I can quickly just check here. There is a few more. Let's see. Actually, Pakistan tested nuclear-capable ballistic missiles as well in 2012 on this day. Let's see what else was there. Another thing, 2006, Iran to share its nuclear technologies. This is quite astonishing that they would admit to something like this in public. I was actually shocked. I should have remembered this. In 2006, Iran's Ayatollah Ali Khamenei or something like that has said that this country is happy to share its nuclear technology with other nations. The Ayatollah made the offer during a meeting with the visiting Sudanese president. Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice has condemned the comments. No shit, she would. It's not like they're buddies. So that's quite interesting. That obviously had some ramifications, but I'm not going to go through all of them. 1992 on this day, Afghanistan overthrow communist government. Okay. Also not going to go into too much details about that. Canary Islands plane crash, 1980. Boeing 727 crashes into side of mountain due to foggy conditions. 146 people were killed on impact. That's sad. Then 1960, Iran earthquake. A large earthquake has flattened the city of Lar in Iran, with an estimated 400 deaths and another 450 seriously wounded. Then 1971, China United Nations. The inclusion of China in the United Nations is urged by all sides due to its growth and importance as a world power. Can you believe it now? It's like, whoa. They're way past powerful now. They're approaching the American economy, actually, if they continue to grow. And then also there was some developments in terms of DNA. 1953, Watson and Crick published their findings of the book Helix of DNA, and suggests that the two strands of DNA allowed it to create identical copies of itself. This is two Cambridge University scientists. It's James D. Watson and Francis Crick, I think. Now, well, that's when they published the article. Well, and I think in 2003 there was a worldwide project with multiple scientists from multiple countries, starting with some type of genome project as well, which could be interesting, but it's a lot of reading up and it's had a lot of understanding to do. And I think the average guy on the street's not gonna understand it. I'm feeling dumb just looking at these. The specific article. It's quite complicated or complex. I'm not that into biology, so there's nothing here about Australia. Well, 1924. Australia is a vast country close to the size of America, and unlike America, with 110 million people, Australia only has 6 million. Many are concerned that Australia can be kept safe from the Asian hordes on their doorstep. That's bordering on racist or something, but okay, must be extremely, I don't know, old. Although we're scared in terms of World War, but that was before World War II, so it doesn't make sense really, but in any case. Okay, guys, I think that's all from my side for today. I'm not gonna make it a very long video, but thank you guys for listening, and if you're interested, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and cheers guys, see you again.